She expected a monster husband, but the cowboy at the station said, "I'll be kind." The train moved slowly across the wide, dry land. Dust rose behind it like a long brown ribbon. Inside one of the small cabins sat Eliza, her hands folded tightly in her lap. She looked out the window, but her eyes were not really seeing the land. Her thoughts were far away. Eliza was traveling to meet a man she had never seen before. She had agreed to marry him, not because she wanted to, but because she had no other choice. Back in her town, life had been hard. There was little money and even less hope. When the letter came about a rancher looking for a wife, her aunt had said it was a good chance, a new life, a safe future. But the stories she heard about men in the frontier were not kind. They are rough, people said. They don't smile much. They expect obedience. Some even said her future husband was known for being cold and quiet, a man who kept to himself, a man who did not care much for feelings. Eliza held on to those words as the train continued its journey. Her chest felt tight. She wondered if she had made a mistake. What if he is unkind, she thought. What if I cannot live with him? She closed her eyes for a moment and took a slow breath. There was no turning back now. After many hours, the train began to slow down. The sound of the wheels softened. The land outside looked empty, with only a small wooden platform in the distance. "This must be it," Eliza whispered to herself. The station was quiet. No crowd, no noise, just a few wooden posts and a faded sign. Her heart began to beat faster. She stood up slowly, picking up her small bag. It was the only thing she had brought with her. Everything she owned fit inside it. As she stepped down from the train, her shoes touched the dry ground. The air felt different here, warmer, still, and wide. She looked around. At first, she saw no one. Then, near the edge of the platform, she noticed a man standing beside a horse. He was tall, wearing a simple hat and a light brown coat. His posture was calm, not stiff or aggressive. He was not moving much, just waiting. Eliza felt a wave of nervousness. That must be him, she thought. Her steps slowed. She wanted to turn back, to run back into the train and never come out again. But the train whistle blew behind her, and she knew it would leave soon. There was no escape now. The man looked up as she came closer. Their eyes met for a brief second. Eliza quickly looked down again. He began to walk toward her, not fast, not slow, just steady. Eliza's hands tightened around her bag. This is it, she told herself. When he stopped in front of her, there was a short silence. The wind moved lightly between them. "You must be Eliza," the man said. His voice was low, but not harsh. It was calm, simple. Eliza nodded slightly. "Yes." Another moment of silence passed. She waited for something else, maybe a command, maybe a cold look, maybe something that would match all the stories she had heard. But it did not come. Instead, the man spoke again. "My name is Daniel," he said. Eliza slowly looked up at him. His face was not angry. His eyes were not sharp or cruel. They were steady and quiet. Then he said something she did not expect at all. "I'll be kind." The words were simple. No big promises, no strong emotions, just quiet truth. Eliza blinked, unsure if she had heard him correctly. Kind? No one had told her to expect kindness. For a moment, she did not know what to say. "Thank you," she replied softly, though her voice carried confusion. Daniel gave a small nod. He did not step closer. He did not reach for her or her bag. Instead, he turned slightly and gestured toward the horse. "We should go," he said. "It's a bit of a ride." Eliza hesitated for a second, then followed him. As they walked, she kept a small distance between them. She watched him carefully, trying to understand him. Was this kindness real, or was it just the beginning of something else? Daniel helped place her bag on the horse, then stepped back again, giving her space. "You can ride," he said. "I'll walk." Eliza looked at him in surprise. "You'll walk?" she asked. He nodded. "It's easier that way." Again, something felt different. This was not what she had expected. As they began their journey away from the station, the train whistle sounded once more behind them. Eliza turned her head and watched it leave. Her old life was going with it. Now she was here, with a man she did not understand, a man who had only said 3 words, "I'll be kind." Eliza faced forward again, her thoughts mixed with fear and something new, something small but growing: curiosity. The road from the station to the ranch was long and quiet. The skies stretched wide above them, soft and pale in the evening light. Eliza sat on the horse, holding the reins carefully, while Daniel walked beside her. He did not speak much. At first, the silence made Eliza uneasy. She kept waiting for him to say something serious or strict, but he only walked calmly, looking ahead, as if there was no hurry. After some time, Eliza spoke softly. "Is the ranch far?" Daniel looked up at her. "Not too far. We'll be there before dark." His voice was the same, steady and gentle. Eliza nodded and looked ahead again. She didn't know what else to say. Her thoughts were still full of questions. After a while, she noticed something. Daniel never walked too close to the horse. He always kept a small distance, as if he did not want to make her uncomfortable. It was a small thing, but she noticed it. The sun slowly moved lower in the sky, painting the land in warm colors. The wind was light, and the air felt calm. Finally, in the distance, Eliza saw a small house. "That's it," Daniel said. As they got closer, Eliza studied the place. It was simple but clean. There was a wooden fence, a small barn, and open land all around. It did not look cold or harsh like she had imagined. It looked peaceful. Daniel stopped near the house and helped her get down from the horse, but only when she asked for help. He did not rush to touch her or guide her. Again, he gave her space. "You can go inside," he said. "I'll take care of the horse." Eliza hesitated. "Should I wait?" Daniel shook his head gently. "No, you must be tired." She nodded and slowly walked toward the door. Inside, the house was simple but warm. There was a wooden table, 2 chairs, a small shelf, and a bed in the corner. Everything was neat. Nothing was broken or dirty. Eliza placed her bag down and looked around. "This is nicer than I thought," she whispered. She sat down on the chair, her body feeling tired after the long journey. Her mind, however, was still busy. Why is he like this, she wondered. After a few minutes, Daniel came inside. He placed his hat near the door and walked to the table. "I made some food earlier," he said. "It's simple, but it should be enough." Eliza looked at the table. There was bread, some cooked vegetables, and warm tea. "You made this?" she asked. Daniel nodded. "Yes." Eliza was surprised again. She had expected something very different, maybe cold silence or no preparation at all. But this felt thoughtful. "Thank you," she said softly. They sat at the table, but even then, Daniel did not force conversation. He ate quietly, giving her time to feel comfortable. Eliza took small bites, watching him from time to time. There was something calm about him. Not distant, not cold, just quiet. After the meal, Daniel stood up and began to clean the table. "You don't have to do that," Eliza said quickly. He gave a small shake of his head. "It's all right." Again, simple words, no pressure, no expectation. Eliza felt confused, but not in a bad way. Later, Daniel showed her the small spaces in the house. "You can keep your things here," he said, pointing to a wooden shelf. "And you can rest whenever you need." He paused for a moment, then added, "There's no rush for anything." Eliza looked at him carefully. No rush, no rules, no commands. This was not the life she had prepared herself for. That night, Eliza sat near the window, looking out at the quiet land. The stars began to appear one by one in the sky. Daniel stayed outside for some time, working on small things around the ranch. He did not come in to check on her again and again. He trusted her to be on her own. Eliza wrapped her arms around herself, thinking deeply. "All my life, I thought kindness was rare," she whispered. She remembered the stories, the warnings, the fear that had followed her all the way here. But now, sitting in this quiet house, everything felt different. Daniel had not raised his voice. He had not made demands. He had not even asked her for anything. Instead, he had given her space, respect, and small, quiet kindness. Still, a part of her heart was unsure. Is this real, she wondered, or will it change later? She did not have the answer yet. But for the first time in a long time, she did not feel afraid. She looked up at the stars again, her thoughts softer now. Maybe, just maybe, this place could be different. Maybe this man was different too. And slowly, without even realizing it, the fear inside her began to grow a little smaller. Not gone, but quieter. Morning came softly over the ranch. The sky turned light blue, and the sun slowly rose over the open land. A gentle breeze moved through the grass, bringing a calm start to the day. Eliza woke up early. For a moment, she forgot where she was. Then she looked around the small room and remembered everything: the train, the station, and Daniel. She sat up slowly and listened. The house was quiet. Then she noticed something on the table, a cup of tea, still warm. Eliza stood up and walked closer. Next to the cup was a small piece of bread, neatly placed. She looked toward the door. He must have left this, she thought. There was no note, no message, just simple care. Eliza held the cup in her hands. It felt warm, and something inside her felt warm too. After she finished, she stepped outside. Daniel was near the fence, fixing a loose piece of wood. He was focused on his work, moving slowly and carefully. Eliza watched him for a moment. "Good morning," she said. Daniel looked up and gave a small nod. "Good morning." There was a short pause, but this time the silence did not feel heavy. "Thank you for the tea," Eliza added. "You're welcome," he replied. That was all, but somehow it felt enough. As the day went on, Eliza stayed near the house, unsure of what she should do. She wanted to help, but she didn't know if she was expected to. After some time, she walked closer to Daniel. "Is there anything I can do?" she asked. Daniel looked at her for a moment, as if thinking carefully. "You can help if you want," he said, "but you don't have to." Eliza nodded. "I'd like to." He pointed toward a small basket. "You can gather some fresh vegetables from the garden." Eliza smiled slightly. "All right." It was a small task, but it felt important to her. As she worked in the garden, she noticed how peaceful everything was. The air was clean, the sounds were soft, and there was no pressure on her shoulders. From time to time, she looked toward Daniel. He worked quietly, never rushing, never watching her too closely. It made her feel trusted. Later, they sat outside for a short rest. Eliza held the basket in her lap. She hesitated, then spoke. "You don't talk much," she said. Daniel gave a small, thoughtful look. "I talk when it's needed." Eliza nodded slowly. "People said," she began, then stopped. Daniel waited, but did not push her to continue. "They said you were difficult," she finally said. Daniel looked down for a moment, then back at the open land. "People say many things," he replied calmly. Eliza studied his face. There was no anger, no sadness, just quiet acceptance. Is it true? She asked softly. Daniel took a slow breath. I used to think being distant was easier, he said. Less trouble, less misunderstanding. Eliza listened carefully. But I learned something, he continued. Silence can feel cold if there is no kindness with it. Eliza felt those words deeply. And now? She asked. Daniel looked at her, his expression steady. Now, I try to be kind, he said, even if I don't say much. Eliza's heart softened. This was the first time he had spoken more than a few sentences, and every word felt honest. I see that, she said quietly. Another gentle silence followed, but this time it was not empty. It was peaceful. As the sun began to set, the sky turned orange and gold. Eliza stood near the fence, watching the colors change. Daniel came and stood a few steps away. After a moment, Eliza spoke again. I thought I would be afraid here, she admitted. Daniel did not interrupt. But I'm not, she said. He gave a small nod. That's good. Eliza smiled a little. For the first time, she added, I feel safe. Daniel looked at her, then looked away again, as if giving her space even in that moment. I'm glad, he said simply. That night, Eliza sat by the window again, but this time her thoughts were different. The fear that once filled her mind was no longer as strong. In its place, there was something new. Trust. Small, quiet trust. She thought about Daniel's words. I try to be kind. He had not made big promises. He had not tried to impress her. He had just shown her, little by little, that he meant what he said. Eliza rested her head lightly against the wall. Maybe I was wrong, she whispered. Not everything was as she had feared. Not everyone was as she had been told. And maybe, just maybe, this quiet man, with his simple words and gentle actions, was someone she could begin to understand. As the stars filled the sky once again, Eliza closed her eyes with a calm heart. Tomorrow would come, and this time she was not afraid of it. The days at the ranch began to pass slowly but peacefully. Each morning, Eliza woke up to the soft light of the sun and the quiet sounds of nature. And every morning, just like before, there was always a warm cup of tea waiting for her on the table. It became something she looked forward to, a small sign of care, a quiet promise that had never been broken. Eliza started to help more around the ranch. She gathered vegetables, cleaned the house, and sometimes even sat outside, watching the wide open land with calm eyes. And Daniel remained the same, kind, quiet, patient. He never rushed her. He never asked for more than she could give. And slowly, without her even noticing, Eliza stopped feeling like a guest. She began to feel like she belonged. One evening, as the sun was setting, Eliza stood near the fence again. The sky was painted in soft orange and pink colors. The wind moved gently around her. Daniel was nearby, fixing a small wooden post. Eliza watched him for a moment, then walked closer. Daniel, she said softly. He looked up. Yes? She hesitated, holding her hands together. I've been thinking, she said. Daniel waited, giving her time. I didn't come here because I wanted to, she continued. I came because I thought I had no choice. Daniel nodded slowly. I understand. Eliza took a small breath. But now, things feel different, she said. There was a pause. I'm not afraid anymore. Daniel's expression softened, but he said nothing. I thought I would have to stay because I had no place to go, Eliza added. But now, I feel like I want to stay. The words came out slowly but clearly. Daniel looked at her, his eyes calm and steady. You don't have to decide anything quickly, he said. Take your time. Eliza smiled a little. That's the thing, she said. You never push me. You never ask for anything. And somehow, that makes me want to give more. Daniel lowered his gaze for a moment, thoughtful. "I just didn't want you to feel trapped," he said. Eliza shook her head gently. "I don't," she replied. "Not anymore." The wind moved between them again, soft and quiet. Eliza looked out at the land. "This place, it feels like peace," she said. "And you made it feel that way." Daniel was silent, but his presence felt warm. "I don't know what the future will look like," Eliza continued, "but I know one thing." She turned to face him fully. "I want to stay. Not because I have to, but because I choose to." For the first time, Daniel seemed slightly surprised. Not in a big way, but enough for Eliza to notice. He took a small step closer, still careful, still respectful. "Are you sure?" he asked. Eliza nodded. "Yes," she said. "I'm sure." A quiet moment passed. Then Daniel spoke, his voice softer than before. "I'll still be kind," he said. Eliza smiled, her eyes warm. "I know," she replied. "That's why I'm staying." The sun slowly disappeared behind the hills, leaving a soft glow in the sky. They stood there for a while, not saying much. But this silence was not empty. It was full of understanding, full of something new. That night they sat outside near the house. The stars filled the sky again, bright and endless. Eliza looked up, then at Daniel. "You know," she said, "I was so afraid when I first arrived." Daniel gave a small nod. "I could tell." She laughed softly. "I thought you would be cold, maybe even unkind." Daniel looked down slightly. "I'm glad I was wrong in your eyes." Eliza shook her head. "You didn't try to prove anything," she said. "You didn't try to change my mind with big words." She paused, then smiled. "You just showed me, little by little." Daniel looked at her, his expression calm. "Sometimes small things matter more," he said. Eliza nodded. "They do." The night grew quieter, but neither of them felt alone. For the first time, Eliza felt something she had not expected when she stepped off that train. Not fear, not doubt, but something gentle, something real. Hope. As the stars shined above them, Eliza leaned back slightly, her heart at ease. She had come to this place expecting a hard life, a cold man, a future filled with worry. But instead, she found kindness, patience, and a choice. And this time, the choice was hers. To stay, to begin again, to build something new, not from fear, but from trust. Beside her, Daniel sat quietly, just as he always had. Steady, kind, and enough. And in that quiet moment, under the wide open sky, their story truly began.